Hello everyone, I am going to dictate you the dictation from GDBist at the speed of 105 words per minute. So be ready. 5 seconds. Start. Mr. Vice Chairman, sir, thank you very much for having given me this opportunity to speak on this Factories Amendment Bill. The purpose of bringing this amendment, a major amendment by the Honorable Minister, is to give protection to the lives and security of the workers who are working in the factories. Sir, I would like to say that these amendments are long pending. In fact, when we compare India with other advanced countries, the rates of industrial mishaps and accidents which takes place in western countries is not even 2%, whereas in our country it is more than 9%. The reason for that is the safety measures provided for workers in our factories are not adequate to protect the life of the worker. Secondly, the authorities which have been given the responsibility of protecting the life of the worker while the worker is performing his duties have been reluctant to enforce the provisions of the Act. In fact, the factories situated in rural areas have long neglected the norms provided under the Act. The factory inspectors go only to urban areas and check up factories located there. Nowadays, we say that more and more factories should be located in rural areas. More and more thrust are given to industries set up in rural areas. Factory inspectors have been vested with the powers to inspect whether the safety measures provided in a factory are enough, whether the factory is in a hazardous position, whether any chemical is being used. When we demand that factories should be increasingly located in rural areas, then we must also ensure enforcement of the Factories Act in those areas. I would like to draw the attention of the Honorable Minister to 3 or 4 amendments sought to be made under this bill. I am referring to the Site Appraisal Committee which is to be appointed under this amendment. The bill refers to the chairman and representatives of the Central Board and the State Board. On the State Board, it is provided that not more than 5 other members may be coopted with the state government who shall be scientists having special knowledge of the hazardous process which will be involved in the factory. Secondly, representatives of the local authority within whose jurisdiction the factory is to be established. Thirdly, not more than 3 other persons as deemed fit by the state government. I draw attention to this particular provision of 3 other persons as deemed fit by the state government. Here, when they define and representatives of the local authority, but In regard to the other representatives, they are from the factories, the Central Board for Prevention and Control of Water Pollution and Air Pollution. I would like to submit that it should contain a clause that two representatives from out of the three should be trade union leaders. Mr. Vice Chairman, sir, I was just pointing out that the fifth five-year plan has been approved by the National Development Council and that from any standard this plan is a grand plan with laudable objectives. This is what I was saying before the Honorable Minister entered the House. Sir, this plan thinks of raising the standards of the poorest people in this country. It has also been stated in the plan that it will be self reliant and that during the 5-year period it will achieve success to have zero foreign aid in this country from any standard, taking into consideration the present position in the country. This is a very courageous stand and a very bold gesture, if I may say so, on the part of the Planning Commission. But, Mr. Vice Chairman, one would like to know from the Planning Commission and from the Government of India whether this type of objective is in any way commensurate with the present position that is obtaining in the country, whether there is required economic structure, whether the society is ready for receiving such a pace of economic development, and whether the government is determined to take bold, hard decisions in order to march on the path that has been laid in the approach document of the fifth five-year plan, because we have not so far seen the document that has been prepared by the National Development Council. Sir, I shall also like to know from the Planning Commission what they think that their duty is. When the Planning Commission was constituted, it was not constituted to be a rubber stamp of the government. It was not expected of the Planning Commission that they will ditto everything that comes from the government. It was expected of the Planning Commission that they will raise their alarm, that they will give a word of caution to the country and to the government that the economy of the society is moving in such a direction that if remedial measures are not taken, something untoward may happen. But unfortunately, it seems that the Planning Commission has nothing to object to the decisions taken by the government, and the Planning Commission also does not think it necessary to accommodate decent point of view. Mr. Vice Chairman, sir, the other day I raised the question of the resignation of one of the members of the Planning Commission. To this day, nobody knows what the actual point of dissent that the member tried to press in the Planning Commission was. In spite of our request, the Planning Commission and the government did not think it proper to bring that note of dissent to the light. We read in the press from the so-called note submitted by our honorable friend. In that note, according to newspapers' report, he talked of some structural change, but We have no indication whether that note was taken into consideration at all by the Planning Commission or the Cabinet.